Hey everybody. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to avoid heart attacks. The other day I was running down the road, pulling Mojo here, and all of a sudden I heard a bunch of alarms, things going off, and about had a heart attack. I realized it was my tire minder alarms going off. So I quickly looked at all of the tire pressure, and one of the tires showed NS or N5, which apparently is no signal. And at the time I didn't realize that. So I thought, what the heck is going on? I pulled over where I was able to find a safe spot to pull over and inspected the tires, and everything was fine. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Well, as I mentioned, later learned that the N5 or NS is no signal. So that tire sensor is not sending the signal to the transmitter and ultimately up to the front of my cab, the head unit that displays everything. So that happened to me a couple times on a couple different tires. So I thought, oh, is the transmitter going bad? So I got on the phone with Tire Minder, Mike, my buddy Mike. He's a great dude, and we kind of talked about the installation and the scenario where I've got this. Now, mind you, I've had this transmitter there for a little over a year and have had no issues. I take that back. I did have an issue several months ago. Talked to Mike. Mike said he might be having a sensor go bad because I just replaced the batteries. So he sent me a new wheel sensor. And long story short, we thought that maybe it's too far away from the wheels, the sender, the transmitter. But then we also thought that maybe the transmitter I have is going bad because it's not only one tire, it's multiple tires that started disconnecting. And we have new batteries in there, and we came to the resolution that wasn't the issue. Had to be the transmitter or the location of the transmitter. So before we moved the transmitter, he did send me a new transmitter to try out and see if that solves the problem. If it does not, we may move the transmitter closer to the rear wheels, or closer to the tires, I should say. Because typically it's the farthest back axle. Those wheels we lose the signal. Sometimes it's the middle axle, middle wheel, because we have a triple axle here. So, but before I move anything, I'm just going to try to replace this one with the old one and see if that solves our problem. Because we did run for quite a while with no issues before, and it recently just started happening. So let's go ahead and change this out and see what happens. All right, let me show you where our sensor is located, our transmitter, I should say, for the tire minder system. So we're here at the front of the rig here under the hitch pin right there. And then my generator's right in here, as well as all my Battle-Born batteries and all that kind of stuff. But right underneath here is where I've mounted it. So let's take a look there, and you see here it is right here. And I basically have it tie wrapped to the fuel line to the generator. So again, that's been working great there for well over a year, and then all of a sudden we're getting all these no signals. So as you notice, this transmitter that I have doesn't have the antennas on it like the new one that Mike sent me. Not sure that makes much of a difference because I know this whole thing's an antenna, omnidirectional, so that's not a big deal. But let's change this out and put the new one in, and we're going to get on another road trip and try this out, and hopefully we'll solve our problem. If not, I'll let you guys know, because what we have to do then is we got to move it further back. All the way back there. And if you guys remember, a little over a year ago, I installed these aluminum angle irons because our freshwater tank started really sagging down on this plastic underbelly thing, and in order to keep it from completely coming out, I put that angle iron in there. Now I have talked to Grand Design about getting this fixed, and apparently it is a big deal, and as you all know, getting into a service center is a nightmare. So this has been working fine. One of these days I will find time to get it into a dealership, hard to do when you're a full-timer, and let them take care of it. Grand Design already said they'd take care of it under warranty, even though I'm getting close to being out of warranty. So back to this. Let's go ahead and change this out, and I got to open up this front compartment to get to the wires. We'll cut those and wire in the new one. Alright, here you have a little better view of the sensor. Again, here it is down here, and the wire's coming up here, got a tie wrapped here. Then we got it going up to, well, I'll wire down into this first Victron unit, or actually into the shunt right there. As you can see, I should probably move this air compressor. In fact, we're going to talk about this air compressor here in a little bit in this same video. But let's concentrate on this right now. What I'm going to do, because I may move this, instead of hard wiring this in, I'm going to use this waterproof connector. So I'm going to put this in line, so if I have to disconnect it and move it further back, I can easily do so without having to rewire everything. So let's go ahead and get started on that. First step is snip these tie wraps that are on here now. I'll pull that off. And then, well, this is hard to do with one hand. Okay, I'm going to set down the camera so I can go ahead and get this off, and then I'll turn back on. Okay, I got it all tie wrapped, and this is the original sending unit. So as you see, the green light's on. Don't know if that shows up in the camera, but what I want to do is I want to keep a little slack on there. So I come right around here, and because it's powered up, you just don't want to cut through it with a pair of wire cutters because you'll short it out. So what you need to do is separate the wires so you can cut them off individually. So I just use a little utility knife. See if I can demonstrate that on camera. And then you just split it like that. Put your finger in there, and you can separate it like that. That's all there is to it. So now all I got to do is give it a cut, and give it a cut, and you're all good. Just like that. Okay, here's the new sending unit, and here's the end of the wire, so we got to get the wires ready. Again, we're using this waterproof connector, so I can quick disconnect if I need to. Okay, so it took me a little bit to get everything out here and get it ready. Let me go ahead and turn the solder station on. And we got to prep these wires. So instead of using the connectors, I kind of like to use solder when I can. Now you notice I've already stripped one about this long, and I'm going to strip the other one so we're at about the same length. I'll show you why I do that. It's something that, and we twist it tight, make sure it's nice and tight. Something I've always done to make sure that solder or the wires don't come apart. It's nice and tight. And then the other end, again, I strip that one, and we're going to make this one a little longer too. And let me show you why I do this. So what a lot of people do is when they strip wires, they just put them on there, put a bunch of solder on there, and think that's going to hold. And in many cases it might, but I like to ensure that it's going to hold. But before you do anything, you got to make sure you got your shrink wrap on here, so when you're all done, you can slide your shrink wrap in place. So I got a little shrink wrap right here. I will slide that down on the wire. Let's grab another one. Get it on the black wire. Make sure it's twisted nice and tight. Always remember, put your shrink tubes on your wires first, because you can't get them on afterwards. So now what you want to do is, this happens to be the positive. I know it because it's got the positive and the dash is on there. So, which means your power. But what I do is I put a little loop in the wire. Now I might get a lot of comments of people saying, oh, that's not how you do it. This is how I've done it for years. And I take the other one, put it through that loop about halfway, and bend it back. And then I simply twist the loops. So, and you see you've got a nice solid without even putting solder on there. So I'll do that to the next one. There you go. They're nice and tight. Shrink tube is already on there, ready to go. Now we're getting ready to solder it. So first thing I do, let me get a little flux. And put it on the wires. Got a little much on that one, so move some over to here. You don't need a lot of flux, but it helps spread the solder throughout the wire. So we'll just tin the tip a little bit. And they're both soldered. Then, once you get it all done, you slide the shrink tube in place. That one's done. Heat it up. Boom, done. We'll plug it in, see if she lights up. And we got power. Now we'll just tide wrap it up and we'll test it out. That's all there is to it. So as you see, we had it here last time. I'll put it right back here. There, now we'll just loop up the rest of the wires up there, and this job is done. Okay, on to the next project. Alright, now on to the next part of the video, and that is another product that Mike sent us from Tire Minder. So I told him I was having trouble with my current air compressor. It's just getting old and not really getting up to the PSI that I really needed to get to, and it's this compressor right here. And while it works great little pancake compressor, when you have to get up over 110 pounds PSI, it struggles. It just doesn't do it very well. So he says, I have a solution. Let me send you one to try out. So I said, okay, let's try it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition the cameras a little bit, but we're going to do an unboxing of this. And then I'm going to show you how it works, and we're going to test it out and see how well it does. Alright, so let's get into the unboxing. And there's my other camera person right over here.
You have a couple. I'm an octopus today.
Yeah, she's got cameras everywhere. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Okay, as we see here in the box, got a couple straps. We'll just take care of those.
I'm out.
Alright, now we slice her here. Okay, wait for it. Ooh. So it's an RV air compressor. All right, let's open it up, see what it's like. So it's a bag in a box. So an owner's manual and a couple little valve extenders and things of that nature. Oh, and even to fill up footballs and basketballs and stuff. That's kind of cool. We're going to set those aside for now. Let's go ahead and unclip it. It's packaged well. So we got in here. It's a digital valve. Oh, I like that. We can put our extension on there and plug in the air hose right there, and it gives a digital readout. Okay, that's kind of a nice feature. You don't have to keep testing. It's just going to tell you what you have in real time.
Shiny and new.
It is shiny and new. So we got 12 volt connection, just gator clips to go on the battery. That's one way of doing it. I'm probably going to replace these. And there's a plug right here in the back of my truck that just is a regular connection. And just replace these with that. But for now, let's finish on packaging. And that's probably pretty much it. As we continue with the bag, we've got, oh, that's a quick disconnect for this. This clearly just goes in here quickly. Just an extension is all it is. Okay. Then we have one long hose. I don't know what the length is, but looks pretty long. Oh, but we have more. On this side of the bag, another hose. So we can go a long way. I'm guessing I might be able to mount, let's move the bag. Might be able to mount this. Oh, that's nice that it's portable. But we'll see. We got plenty of hose to get all the way to the back of the rig and just leave the compressor right here. So that works well. All right, so that's everything that comes with it. Now let's try it out. Looks pretty durable. Okay. First step, obviously we got to get power. So we'll connect this on here. Should fire up. Well, let's. And then we come down here. Now they say there's supposed to be an air filter on the outside here. However, I checked the box, the bag, everything, and there's no air filter for that side. So, it switches off to the side here. Oh, by the way, it comes with a threaded valve that you screw onto your tire valve. I'm not a fan of those. I just like the push-on ones, but this may take a while, and that's why they do that. But I turned it on, and it shows that we're at 99.1 pounds, or PSI, I should say. And on this tire, I don't know if you can read that, it says cold fill 110. So I'm going to run it around 105. So let's go ahead and hit the button, turn it on. And let's pump it up. It's not too loud. There we go. 105. So all in all, this works very well. It's 12 volts, as I mentioned before. It does have a max amperage of 23 amps, Max pressure 150 psi. So, not so bad. Now, the only gripe I've got against this so far, it's supposed to come with that filter, and it did not come with the filter. I've double checked the bag and the box and everything, and it's not in there. So I'm going to have to give Mike a call and find out what's going on with that. We wanted to stretch it out, see how far it would go. It looks like that it's probably says it in the manual, but about 25-30 feet each hose. So you can go about 60 feet total. So it should be more than enough to get around my rig right here from the tailgate. But compressor is nice and quiet. Seems pretty decent quality, I will admit. At any rate, that's my review so far of this Tire Minder heavy duty air compressor. And they even label it RV air compressor. So if you've got any questions or comments, go ahead and leave that below on this air compressor, as well as me replacing the receiver, or is that a sending unit? Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. But replacing that, and let's hopefully, as I go down the road, I won't have any NS's or N5s on my display again. So that's it for this review. Please go ahead and leave a comment if you have any questions or anything I did wrong, or you want to yell at me or complain. That's fine too. Electric car you don't even hear go by these days. At any rate, so far I give this thing an A. I won't go A+ yet until I play with it a little bit more. But I'm happy with it so far. So I just want to jump in here and say, don't forget that we are having a contest that we're giving away 2 cinch e-bikes. These are the Event cinches that we showcased in several videos, and we're giving those away, 2 of them, to one lucky winner. Go ahead and click this little QR code or go to the link below here to get more information on how to enter the contest. And remember, you must be a subscriber to enter. So go ahead and click those links and get to the form page and enter, and look for those clues throughout this video. So as you see, Tire Minder has helped prevent a heart attack. At least it does with me. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to do all the things, be the click monster, like, subscribe, and ring that little bell. And we'll get back with you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.